Hi, I'm Serotonin, and this is my Protection Paladin Beginner's Manual. Alright, to start off, you must be wondering, why is a mage writing a manual about a Protection Paladin? Well, I will have you know that I have an alt who is a paladin. She tanks. So I'm writing this because we're getting through all of the content in one night, and I have nothing else to do. So I thought I'd do this for fun. The areas that I will cover will be abilities and rotation, glyphs, stats, gems, and specs. And I'll also add tidbits in to help you start tanking if this is like your first time, or if you know your main is a tank and you want to add to this, make certain to put in a comment, but please don't flame me on this. I'm doing my best, and also most of this information is taken off Elitist Jerks. Okay, we're starting off with abilities and rotation. Shield of Righteous, or SHR. It's single target, it does very high amount of threat, and it scales with block rating. The next ability is my favorite, which is Hammer of the Righteous, or HOTR. This does not break CC, it triggers your current seal, and it hits up to 3 mobs, so it's an AoE. The next ability is also an AoE, it's Avenger's Shield. It won't break CC, and it has a 10-second snare effect. It hits up to 3 mobs as long as you don't have the glyph, and I find it extremely helpful for using it with Hammer of the Righteous to keep threat on a whole bunch of mobs. The next ability is Holy Shield, or HS. It puts 8 charges on you, and it increases your block chance by 30%, and it does 275 holy damage for every blocked attack you have. Now, if you have Blessing of Sanctuary on you, this means that every time you block, you actually get 2% of your mana back. Moving on to Consecration. It's not concentration, it's consecration. This will break CC, but it's a really good AoE, and it hits multiple targets. It's the bread and butter of being a paladin. And yay, paladins finally have a taunt. Hand of Reckoning, or HOR, does very high single target damage, and it basically works exactly like a warrior's taunt. So yay for paladins! And finally, there's some minor threat increases. Exorcism works on undead, and it's excellent for single target. And Holy Wrath is an AoE for undead, and it stuns them for 3 seconds. Which, if you do Holy Wrath when you have a group of undead, it actually will help you to get them clustered up, so that way you can do Hammer of the Righteous, or you can do Avenger's Shield to get them controlled really easily. And now we have some other very helpful abilities. Divine Protection, you do on yourself. It's a 50% damage reduction and lasts for 12 seconds. Divine Shield, you do on yourself. It lasts for 12 seconds. It also drops aggro, but you're immune to all damage, which is very nice. Say if you have a boss that whirlwinds, you can pop that and then do like Hand of Reckoning to get the aggro back. And Hand of Protection, you can cast this on someone else. It lasts for 10 seconds, and it protects them against physical attacks. Not magical, physical. Divine Plea is very nice. It has a 1-minute cooldown, and it gives you back 25% of your max mana over 15 seconds. Very awesome. And Avenging Wrath increases your damage and healing by 20%. It can't be used within 30 seconds of Divine Shield, Hand of Protection, or Divine Protection. And finally, Righteous Defense. It commands up to 3 targets to attack you and not someone else. It's more effective with the glyph, and it's very nice for getting things back from attacking a healer or a DPS. Before you even think about your seals or your judgments, make certain that you have Righteous Fury. It increases your threat generated by your holy spells by 90%. If you don't have this on, you're going to lose aggro. This is the main reason why you're a tank. Now on to the seals. Pretty much the only one that you should ever use is Seal of Vengeance for Alliance or Seal of Corruption for Horde. It's the seal of choice. It generates more threat than Seal of the Righteous. Seal of the Righteous is more for up front threat, instead of steady threat. So just use Seal of Corruption or Vengeance. On to your judgments. These are mainly for buffs. Prod Paladin, you really don't have to worry about them too much. The one that I would suggest that you use is Judgment of Wisdom. It scales with total mana, and it's just better for you to use it. Let the Holy and Ret Paladins use JOL or JOJ. Okay, on to rotation. I've put up a general rotation that I got from Elitist Jerks. For the most part, I don't follow it exactly. The most important part that you need to do is just make certain that you keep up Holy Shield, you consecrate, and you do Hammer of the Righteous, which is my favorite move. Otherwise, face roll, because you're a Paladin. You should easily generate threat. And also remember, HS doesn't share the cooldown of your other main threat abilities, so feel free to pop it whenever it's up. And now we're on to glyphs. Major glyphs include Seal of Vengeance or Corruption, Righteous Defense, and I prefer Exorcism. Seal of Vengeance or Corruption grants you 10 expertise while active, and it's the best threat one. Next is Glyph of Righteous Defense. Pretty much it just increases the chance that it'll work by 8%, which helps your hit rating. And for your third glyph, it really doesn't matter. I prefer Exorcism because it also interrupts spellcasting on undead, but it's up to you. You can also get Glyph of Avenger's Wrath and Glyph of Consecration. Pretty much the Consecration one, it just means it might work into your rotation a little better, but it really doesn't help too much. And on to the minor glyphs. I use Sense Undead, Lay on Hands, and Blessing of Kings. Sense Undead, you do 1% more damage to undead. You can also track them, which is pretty handy dandy. And Lay on Hands restores 20% more mana, which is very nice. And the third one, I use Glyph of Blessing of Kings because I'm spec for kings, but otherwise, to use another one didn't really matter. And we're on to stats. I'm not going to cover these too much, just the basics. The first one, the most important one, is defense. Without defense, you're going to get crit, and if you get crit, you're going to need to be healed more, and it's just one of those things. Defense cap is 540 or 689 defense rating. For heroics, I think you need 535 defense. Pretty much this is the one that you need to worry about all times. Gem enchant for it, and you're good to go. And important stat number 2, stamina. You can never have enough stamina. The bigger your pool, the better. Gem and enchant for it, but don't sacrifice other stats just to have stamina. Important stat number 3 is hit. If you can't hit, you can't get aggro. But the thing is, you don't want to get hit over defense. If you're not defense capped, get defense over hit. And important stat number 4 is strength. The more strength that you have, the higher your attack power, the higher the threat you'll get. It's not more important than the other 3, but, you know, it's still nice. And some other stats that you can get. Dodge rating is nice. Pretty much you avoid being hit, but this is primarily used for warriors. And another one is block rating. It's helpful for damage mitigation. It provides threat when HS is up, but it only blocks damage equal to your block rating. Expertise is nice. Decreases parry chances from bosses, which means that their attack speed won't be increased. But the worst stat is haste. Do not ever get it, in my opinion. Now, this is my opinion. If someone wants to do it, that's fine, but it's really not going to help you get more aggro and more threat. As far as gems go, the most important color is yellow. You get defense rating, and you get hit rating. Green gems are very nice, too. Red, dodge rating, agility, strength, and expertise. Those are the ones that you go for. Blue, stamina. Stamina and more stamina. Just think stamina. Nothing else is good for a tank. If you're meta, you can use an austere or an eternal. It just depends upon which one you need more.